Hi my friends, in today's video I wanted to share with you one ChatGPT prompt that can help you master vocabulary in any language. So the idea here is, for example, if you have pieces of conversation or text or an article from a newspaper, whatever you find on the internet, and you want to get the keywords, maybe the main words according to your English level or Portuguese level, depending on your target language, the language you're learning, and then you create a table with those keywords or those words that are difficult to learn or that you don't know. Okay, maybe some of them you already know, but you want to keep those words in a table with a translation into your language and with a phrase so that you can learn that word in a context. So the prompt would be this one. You ask the assistant, so I'm trying to learn, for example, let's suppose that you're learning Spanish. You say, I'm trying to learn Spanish at a, and then you insert your level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, or you can use A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, according to your level. And then you say, I have a text in, and then you insert the language, for example, Portuguese or Russian, that I would like to translate into, and you can set here your target language. Maybe you wanted to translate those words into English, if that's your mother tongue. Could you help me identify keywords or phrases in the text that are relevant to my level of learning, translate them into, and then you set your target language. Let's suppose that it's English or whatever, and then use them in a sentence. Here is the text, and then you paste the text here, okay, and then you just substitute here where I have the square brackets, the language that you're learning, and then the language that you want the phrases to be translated into. Okay, so let's give it a try. You just copy this text here, and you can see here, for example, that this is the output that I want. So you can modify also the output. For example, if you need to have another column with the IPA translation of the text for the pronunciation, you can add some other column. So the column I came up with are this one. So the original word, the word translated into my target language, then a sentence of that word, and then the translation of that sentence. So let's copy this prompt and let's go to ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT 3.5 or GPT-4, whatever version you're using. I'm going to use the GPT 3.5 in case you don't have the Pro version. And let's copy the text. So let's suppose, for example, that you're learning English, okay, and that your mother tongue is Spanish. That's my case. Okay, so assistant, I'm trying to learn, and I'm going to set here English I'm going to set here at an advanced level. I have a text in English, course, but it could be a text in French or whatever that I would like to translate into, and then you set, for example, into Spanish. Could you help me identify keywords or phrases in the text that are relevant to my level of learning, translate them into Spanish, for example, and then use them in a sentence? Here is the text. Okay, and then we're gonna paste the text now. Please generate a table with the following columns. We're in English because that's the original, the target language, and then I want the Spanish translation here. Then sentence in English because that's the language I want to learn, containing the word. Then translation of that sentence into my mother tongue, in this case, Spanish. Okay, exclude words that are too basic for my level of learning. The expected output would be a table like this: word in English, Spanish translation, sentence in English, and then translation of the sentence into Spanish. Okay, and here you can see these placeholders that we're using here. So this is a common prompt where you give the assistant a role, for example, an English teacher, then you give it a task, then you give some rules, for example, that it has to be according to your English level and only to get the keywords and phrases that are at your level, and then some restrictions about what the output should be, and also the format. So this is a format that we use for creating prompts for ChatGPT or any other AI. So let's get some text. Let's go to Wikipedia, English, and let's say that I want to learn about American history. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy. Remember that ChatGPT has a limit about 4,000 tokens, so let's copy this piece here and let's see if it is enough. So we have to place the text here. Okay, let's copy the text. For example, we can also separate the text like this. If we forget to provide the test, no problem. He's going to ask you for the test. And you can see, guys, we have the table here. We have history, lands, United States, arrival, indigenous, colonies, taxes, resistance, self-government, armed conflict, independence, Revolutionary War, peace treaty, Constitution, Bill of Rights. For example, no new words for me. I know all these words, but it could be useful for you. It depends on the article that you're copying. Let's go, for example, and paste another piece of the history. And then you don't have to repeat the command because he knows, or it knows, that it has to translate that text and create the table. And you can see here, we have the new table. It's creating and adding new records. You can see that you can continue generating because the output is limited. And then you can see here we have industrial power, entrepreneurship, industrialization, immigrant workers, farmers, corruption, progressive movement, reforms, federal income tax, prohibition. And here you can see we have the translation into Spanish, prohibición, then an example of that word prohibition here, leading to reforms including alcohol prohibition. And here you have the translation into Spanish, lo que llevó a reformas incluyendo la prohibición del alcohol. Women's suffrage, sufragio femenino, leading to reforms including women's suffrage. Okay. World War I, Primera Guerra Mundial, initially neutral during World War I. Okay, so for example, if you want to keep this output, you can come here and copy the table, and then you can paste it into a word processor. Let's suppose, for example, that you have a Google account. You can create a new document and you paste the table. You can go here if you want to keep the formatting of the table. You can go to format, table, and then table property, and here you can go to color and then choose 1 point, for example, and you can change the color of the cells. For example, it could be red, whatever you want. You can select the headings, and then you can go to rows, and then you can change also all the disposition for your table. Okay, here I have my table, and then if I want to copy the other piece of output that I had here, I'm going to copy only from this row downwards. Okay, I'm going to go to the next line here. And I'm going to paste. And in this way, I have the words that I want to learn. If you want more detail about a word, and you're here inside Google Docs, you can select the word. Then you can right-click, and there is a menu here. Define lands. Okay, I have the menu here in Italian, but no worries. You can just press Command Shift Y, and you're gonna have the definition here to your right. Okay, here you have the translation for land. There is a noun. You can see that Also, we have land as a verb. Okay, and you can have more information about that word. For any word, you can just right click and then define the word, and you can have all the explanation. So this is very handy when you're learning a new language, to keep records of the words that you need to learn, and you have a little bit of context here. And then of course, if you want to know how to pronounce one of these words, you have also here the pronunciation in IPA, but you could go, for example, and copy this word and open Youglish.com, paste the word, choose the accent you want that word to be pronounced in, for example, US accent, and here you can see, you can click play, and you see here the pronunciation: indigenous American people began regularly inhabiting or visiting the area. Okay, you can go ahead and search for the next pronunciation in a different context. You can repeat what you hear here or what you hear, so that you can practice also your pronunciation. Okay, so you can modify this prompt according to your needs, and that's it, guys. I'm gonna share also the prompt with you in the description and in the comment, according if you're watching this video in YouTube or Instagram. I'm gonna share with you the prompt so that you can use it and you can tailor to your needs. Okay, see you soon, bye, and don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up.